Hi, how are you both today?
Hi, Alyssa. Are you recording this at night?
No, I think it's just like cloudy.
Oh, okay. I was like, that would have been very on brand for the publication.
No, I have some interviews later, so it will be at night, but not for
Oh,
you
hell
then.
yeah. We love that. We love that.
Yeah, it's so great to meet you. I really enjoyed the show and I
Thank
want
you
to
so much.
meet you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So I feel like Mir spends the entire series trying to be just like Bubba, and he really just realizes that his father just obviously wasn't who he thought he was.
Mhm.
How does that revelation throughout the series kind of redefine his understanding of success and family? What do you
I think
think?
my character's experience in the show, his whole existence was a reflection of his father. He was just spent his whole life, education wise, relationship wise, dress wise, where he just wanted to mirror his dad and be the best son slash employee, a very pick me kind of guy. And when he loses his father, the course of the season for Mir is kind of him trying to discover who he actually is without his dad. What does he actually believe? What does he actually want to do? What is he actually good at and not good at? And who does he want to be? Really, who does he want to become? And so it's a lot of self reflection and discovery, but done in very pressurized situations where you got to make a decision now because people are coming to get you, and you also have this relationship with your brother where this kind of very contentious competitiveness. What does this look like without our dad? Was I just competing with him just for my dad's attention? And now that my dad's gone, what is this relationship now? So there's a lot to unpack over the season, but it's just a testament to the writers that we were even given parts that have that many dimensions to explore.
I love how your characters are able to kind of redefine what success looks like because
Yeah.
some small wins in the series, even if it's
Yeah.
like getting through the situation. But I was really curious also because Raj is very carefree, but there's an underlying sadness, and the later episodes hint there were
There
some
is.
moments where he kind of wishes he had done more and contributed more. What do you think Raj's character arc says about his self-worth and how it kind of evolves throughout the series? I thought, because he kind of starts off wanting to just kind of sit back and not do anything.
Yeah, and I think he realizes, after Baba dies, that he could have been a little more involved. He didn't have to be so hands off and needy. Him and Baba had their own personal connection, and they were more like each other than Mir and Baba. And you can see that in the pilot when they're putting. Like
Right.
Mir will go in and he'll take 10 minutes to focus on a
Bought the
shot.
special thing, has
Yeah.
the glove on, does the whole
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Just waltz in.
and
Yeah.
Baba and Raj both, they're just so much more alike. And Raj is naturally Baba's favorite, and I think he took it for granted. I think he didn't really relish in that knowledge that Mir was trying to. He was trying
So
so
hard.
hard to be that person, and Raj just like on automatic would take that place. And I don't think Raj realized that until after Baba passed, and he was like, "I wish, I knew I was his favorite, but I wish I could have earned his favoritism rather than just being."
Existing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool to see his evolution to getting to that point because he definitely took it for granted before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is kind of cool. Yeah, you do take definitely more ownership as the show goes on.
Yeah, I mean, Baba Cat's
Yeah.
still around,
Yeah, Baba Cat is still around.
Baba Cat.
Yeah, shout out to Baba Cat.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was a little frustrated that the show ends on a cliffhanger, but it just made me excited for the possibility of more seasons and
Yeah.
more character development. So I really appreciate both of your time and your perspectives. It's really great to meet you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thank
So
you so
nice to
much.
meet you too.
Hi, Poorna. How are you?
Have we met before, Alyssa?
We have not met before.
Hi, you look so
I
familiar.
wish we had. I love your work. But
Thank you.
Yes, and I love that jacket. That's
Oh,
fabulous.
thank you. It got cold in here. I just put on another layer.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. I loved your character Lucky so much, but I really love how there is an episode that details her childhood and her past, and it really helps explain how she's a little bit tough. So it makes a lot of sense. But I was curious, how do you think she was forced into servitude? She was paying off her father's debts as a child, and then Baba kind of finds her and takes her out of the system, and now she's in charge. So,
Yeah.
how do you think these experiences kind of shape the way she moves through the world, how she operates?
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like it's exactly that. She, was born into a life. She's paying off her dad's debt. She's probably like getting sex trafficked in about a second. She's very young when this happens, around 9. And so, and Baba comes, and what Baba and she do together is fulfill the American dream. And that's part of the charm of Delhi Boys, is just the American dream through a very different lens, right? And so the boys, want their dad's approval and want to do right by him and want to achieve success and all that. But it's in a world that they do not know anything about. So Lucky's really there to help them achieve, step into Baba's shoes, but also achieve the American dream for them.
Yes, and I think what's really special about Lucky's relationship with the brothers is that she really believes in them, even though no one else does.
Yeah.
They're thrown into this horrible situation, but she still pushes for them to, keep trying different ways to get around situations. What do you think she sees in them that other people don't? Like, I know she was around them when they were younger, I was assuming.
Yeah, I think Lucky is the only maternal figure they've ever known, and Lucky doesn't have a maternal bone in her body, which is also an aspect of her that I just love. Like in the pilot, he asked me, can you look after us now? And I'm like, yeah. Like that's not what's on the card for her, suddenly looking after two grown ass men who act like babies. But I think what binds them together is a sense of loyalty. She will do anything for these boys. She made Baba a promise. He saved her, and now she really is not going to, she's not going to let the boys drown. So she will do it any which way to protect them and to protect her reign.
It's not really like they don't really take the time to grieve Baba in a real sense. They really just jump into dealing with all of this chaos. But I
Right.
really saw grief in Lucky as a kind of like underneath everything. I could see it kind of her being like, yeah, I'm still not really in a good place. Did you see that at all?
Really pops for me in episode 6. So in episode 6, Raj has had way too many drugs at the beginning, and he keeps seeing Baba appear as a ghost and not realizing, just in a totally different reality with Baba all the time. Like, we are about to get killed, and he's still seeing visions. And I just think in one of his visions, we're all grieving, which is how we really feel inside and how he feels inside. The boys are just not ready to let the dad go, but must let him go in order to move forward, and move on. And it is an episode that exposes our deep bind and our deep bond.
Yeah, it's super powerful, and I love the show, and I'm
Thank
sad
you,
and kind of
Alyssa.
chaotically, but I hope to see more. And
I hope so too.
I loved meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you. Me too.
Hi, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Alyssa. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. I really enjoyed your character, and I had so many questions for you because he might be a villain, he might not be. I can't say which, but we'll talk about it. So Ahmed operates with a sense of kind of cold calculation. And to me, like, he doesn't really believe in the brother's ability to be able to take on this family business. Do you see him as a villain, or do you see someone who simply thinks he's just more equipped to be the leader? I know that was a big thing this season. Yeah.
Whoever sees themselves as a villain, no one sees it. No, I'm just misunderstood. That's all. I'm misunderstood and underappreciated. So, yeah, no. And the boys are not equipped. I'm sorry. They're idiots on any metric. Nothing to do with running this business.
Maybe, yeah. But they get creative and have different ways of
Yeah,
doing things,
yeah,
right?
yeah. They
Okay.
do.
No, I trust your perspective.
Well,
And
it's Ahmed's perspective, yeah, but
yeah, of course. And I think you and Poorna, you have really good tension in this series, and you're obviously rivals because you both want to be the leader. How did you go about building that dynamic? And because it felt really authentic, it felt kind of like a brother-sister
yeah.
relationship.
Well, the thing about Poorna is she's incredibly unlikable, so it's very easy. No, she's so good. I mean, she is very good, and some of her takes crack me up. And I haven't seen the whole show, so you've got the jump on me. I have not seen the episodes. I've seen two, I think, the first two. She's just wonderful to work with. I mean, to work against. She gives you a lot of ammunition, which is wonderful. It's acting like a tennis match. It's great.
Yeah. Curious about how this series explores a little bit of generational tensions as well as like the mix of different cultures. So we were talking about like the Pakistani and the Indian families kind of having a little spat in the beginning, particularly with your character. How do you think these conflicts kind of shaped your character's worldview? He's very old fashioned, where we have like newer generations coming in. What do you think
Right.
about?
You got to understand that, as you're doing it, I'm being exposed to stuff. Oh, this is who I am now. Oh, I see. This is broadening the palette. It's not something I brought to the character because I had no idea until we had that scene. And I'm going, oh, okay, this is who he is. And I loved that. So I thought that was hilarious. The Indian Pakistani war was, I thought, perfectly observed at how inane it is. But a lot of the stuff is thrown on you as you're moving along. So you have to sort of, it's not backpedal, but you have to go, okay, what have I done? What have I done that supports this turn? And what do I need to change because I've got to accommodate this new information? So yeah, it's not like you have when you're doing a play and you've got the whole script in front of you and this is my alpha, this is my omega, this is where I've got to cover, this is what he knows, this is what he doesn't know. It's a whole different thing when you're doing a series that's being created as you're going along. You're getting information sometimes that you have to somehow accommodate because you did something differently earlier.
Is there anything that surprised you about your character, or maybe like you saw certain things coming? I know you said you didn't get to see the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm the bad guy. That was a surprise. And that he's gay, which didn't change how I played it. But I think it was, I don't know when it happened that Abdullah said, yeah, we want him to be gay. And my first instinct was, now wait, what are we doing with that? Now, I trust Abdullah implicitly. He is a very smart man. But I said, we're not playing this for easy laughs or anything. He said, no. I want him to be an outsider within his own outsider clan. Now, I don't think we've explored that fully yet. I don't think so. But I thought, oh, that is a really interesting take to have an outsider within the outsider group. And so I'm looking forward to explore that. I think that's a really, really clever take on introducing a gay character. So we'll see.
I think that's a good perspective to have, and just, a new kind of way to approach various social issues and ways. Yeah, I think that's really special and wonderful. And you were so great in the show, and it was so great to meet you and hear your perspective. I really appreciate it, Brian.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your interest.
Hi, Alfie. How are
Hi,
you?
Alyssa. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. It's so great to meet you.
You too.
Thank you. Yes. So I found that Prairie was one of the characters in the show that I just really resonated with. She just has
Yes.
such beautiful energy, and it was just like a
One.
good way to balance all the chaos.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, I think Prairie is one of the only characters that actually acknowledges that Mir and Raj never really grieved their father properly. They're really just thrown into so much craziness and they never
Mm-hmm.
took a minute. Like, they had the funeral, but I feel like they never processed it.
Mm-hmm.
How important was that to you, especially just to show this emotional kind of underbelly of the show, even though it is a comedy? How did you
Sure.
approach that?
Well, I was lucky to play a character that does kind of bring the energy to a level when she enters the room, because it is just a nice contrast from the chaos that is happening. And, honestly, I think that's important. I kind of do that in my life as well. Like, we move so fast and things are thrown at us so fast, and we don't really take the time to check in with our bodies and like check in, like, how are you actually feeling? Slow down a little bit, So it was a huge honor and privilege, and like, I don't know, very fun to play a character like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we need that release. And I feel like
Yes.
this is some very high stress situations that I can't even imagine being in. So I think that's really good. And
Yeah.
I think that Prairie's relationship with Raj is so interesting because I could tell that she really believes in him and really just wants him to be the best that he can be, which is so important. But she also keeps a lot of major secrets from him, which I can't talk about. But
Sure.
do you think she sees something in him that he doesn't see in himself? And that's kind of like her goal to bring that out?
I think that Prairie sees Raj for exactly who he is. And I don't think she wants to change him in any way. And I think the reverse is true for her as well. And that's why their relationship is so strong despite its weirdness to the outside world. Like, they really just accept each other for who they are. They care about each other and they only want the best for each other. And let's just say Raj keeps some pretty big secrets from her too. Hello.
That's fair. That's fair. I was also really curious because there were just so many little, I don't know, just kind of characteristics of your character that I thought were really funny, like all the different little astrology kind of things where she's like, "Oh, you're this way because you're a Scorpio." Like, were there little aspects of your character that you pulled from your own like little interests in spirituality? Like, how much of it was on the page and how much was just Alfie?
I mean, listen, I've been Prairie in certain phases of my life, and I will be again. I've tried every holistic practice there is. I used to be very into crystal work, not so much now, but maybe I should get back into it. So I definitely pulled from the personal, and the rest was already on the page for me. So it was a nice balance. It was a nice, like, cohesion and cooperation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seemed very natural just for me to watch. I was like, I feel like she's dabbled in some of these
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
before.
definitely.
Yeah. And like I was saying, the show is full of so much high stakes power struggles, but Prairie really exists on the outskirts of that. Do you think that makes her like the freest person in the series, or do you think that makes her the most vulnerable? Especially, I know how it ends, but like,
I
what do you
think two things can be true at the same time. You know, she is very free from it all. And because she is so free and open hearted, she is the most vulnerable, for sure.
I love that. And I there's some power in that too, because she doesn't have to deal with
Absolutely.
all the anxiety, and I think
Hmm.
that's such a beautiful thing. I loved meeting you and getting to talk to you.
You too,
We're at a
Alyssa.
time, but I hope we can talk again for
Yes.
all your upcoming projects.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Alyssa with the Nocturnal. How are you all today?
We're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
It's so great to meet you. I love this show, but mostly because I live in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
And I was particularly
Yes.
Eagles.
yes.
Good call.
And I was particularly excited that Malvern was mentioned. My
Yeah.
dad's whole family lives there, and I don't live far from there. And I thought that was so cool because anything local, anything personal feels really special. But I was curious also because I know that there is a significant number of Pakistani and Muslim immigrants. It was really cool to highlight their presence in Philadelphia. How important was that for you, especially in shaping the setting and this whole situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's not a lot of Pakistani actors working when compared to other groups like Indians, or Arab Americans or whatever, right? So we really had to dig deep. I feel like we saw every brown guy in Hollywood. And the amazing thing was, if you guys remember, they all like really loved the part and were rooting for the show. And it's like they were all going for the same part. And I was like, I wish we could cast all of these people, right? Because they really are incredible. But of course, we have a mix of people, right? Saagar is Pakistani. Asif is Indian Muslim. So, he shares a lot of culture with Pakistanis. Poorna is Indian, but she's lived in Pakistan, right? And then a lot of our smaller characters are also Pakistani. But yeah, it was a huge effort. Shout out Seth Yankowitz, our casting director, who really does it.
And 20th casting. It's really rare that you get to make discoveries now. People really want to use someone famous. And we've seen Poorna a million times, but again, she's, hasn't played a role like this. So we were really, really lucky, and it was really fun, and it turned out great.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, I thought it was so unique just to see people of color in this type of role as well, in these kind of situations, like these drug cartels and all these kind of things. It's super cool to see. And I also thought it was interesting how this show doesn't shy away from social commentary, particularly with the Indian and Pakistani families kind of like warring a little bit at first. What was the goal in weaving those elements into the story? Because it definitely felt authentic, especially with different cultures and, the kind of tradition.
Really what that was too was that the old guys, right? Ahmed, who's kind of like a curmudgeon, and the Indian grandfather, they're the racist ones, right? The younger people, the younger generation, they're past it, right? And I really feel this way. I think South Asian Americans, we shouldn't hang on to our, motherland's differences, right? Because we share a culture. There's not as many of us here. It's kind of nice to have people who share your culture, So I really wanted to bring down that wall a little bit and talk to it directly, right? And I feel like we did it in a fun way. Obviously, Asif is Indian and he's playing a Pakistani. So there's a few self-directed jokes that way, right? But that honestly was the mission there. It's about us all coming together. It's about brown people who share culture coming together.
And actually, one of the writer that wrote that episode is Mehar Sethi, who is an Indian guy. So he had a very specific kind of perspective on that. And, that I think I'll speak to the writing staff. We have a really diverse staff, and everybody had a perspective on their particular. I'm half Italian, and so I had a perspective on that group, and I think that's why it all felt so authentic.
That's amazing. And just to wrap up, I know this series does end with a bit of a cliffhanger. Things are kind of left up in the air. What excites you the most about people seeing the show and just kind of that anticipation of hopefully a continuation? Because I want to see more.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.